Welcome to Six Count. I'm your host, Zara Wild, bringing you the voices and stories of jazz from Durham, North Carolina. Andrew and Paul, thank you so much for joining Six Count.
Yeah,
thanks for having us.
Thank you.
I will always think so fondly of this band because it was the first one I interviewed for Six Count in North Carolina back in 2022. And so I just have so many good memories of speaking with you three about your Volume 1.
Yeah, I was just thinking about that today, how that we were the first interview. It's really cool. We appreciate you doing it again, too.
Of course, yes. Backstage in the Sharp 9 gallery.
Mm-hmm. That's right.
Yeah.
Well, congratulations on the release of your single, which is coming out ahead of your Volume 2. Tell me how that has gone and just how it's felt like to finally have something from the album out into the world.
It's felt great to get it out. We have a great support base, I think, around locally and people that enjoy our music. So they've been excited about Volume 2. We've been kind of teasing it and talking about it for a couple of years. And so it's good to start getting the music out there.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. It just feels good to finally actually get some traction with it and have the thing out in the world where it can be streamed and heard and enjoyed and all that. So,
and that arrangement in particular, we've been playing that for a long time. It's been a couple years.
Yeah, that's Andrew's arrangement. And if you know the tune, it really doesn't sound, I mean, of course the melody is there and I guess kind of the hits on the bridge, but other than that, it's very different than any other recording of that tune that you would hear. So it feels almost like an original tune. Obviously it's Miles's tune, but yeah, it doesn't feel like I feel like a tune like that, if you really have to do something different with it, or maybe don't play it, you know.
Why so? Because it's so well known, or because it's unique in another way?
It's kind of just part of the canon, you know, of the music. So you either kind of are doing what's been done, or you're kind of doing something new with it.
Yeah.
So I have a guess for why you chose that as a single. Can I try it out and you can let me know if it's right or wrong?
Shoot.
So Nardis, as you mentioned, was composed by Miles Davis in 1958, but I believe was made famous by Bill Evans. And it's on his 1960 album Thrio at Birdland and Trio Live in 1964. And you're Thrio, so just seemed to make sense.
Yeah,
that's great.
That's a nice connection.
Yeah, we're learning that right now.
Okay, so I was wrong.
No.
Well, I mean, the tune definitely works great. I mean, Bill Evans' Trio is such a legendary group, and they recorded so much good music, and he definitely loved the tune because he recorded it a few times and played it live a lot. I can't say it was a direct inspiration, but we just thought it was a cool vibe and kind of set the stage for some of the sound and the experience we want people to have with the record.
Okay. And is it true, or is there any truth to the theory that it's Nardis because it sounds like an artist?
I don't know. I don't know about the origin of the name. In fact, I looked into that a little while ago, and I think it's just a lot of speculation about what the name actually means or where it came from. So I don't know. I'm not really sure. But I was glad that we chose it as the first single, just because it feels like something that if you put on immediately, that people could get into it, you know. And and it's cool. It has a nice arc to it. It kind of takes a little bit of patience to get into at the very beginning. But then, it develops and opens up in a way that's really nice. So I feel like hopefully people will dig it, You couldn't pick every tune on the record that as a single. There's some good ones in there that are standalone, but some of them fit more into the fabric of the album, and if you pulled them out of context, maybe they wouldn't be a great single or something, but that one definitely works.
And you also will be featuring songs by Chick Corea and Wynton Marsalis. Can you share about those selections?
Sure. Yeah, we have Chick Corea's tune "Windows" is going to be on the record. It's a great tune from I think his record "Now He Sings, Now He Sobs." I think is where that came first, right? I
think that's right. And then there's another. I think it's a live recording that they do. I remember Dave Holland being on it, and I can't remember who else, but that tune. Gosh, I don't remember exactly how it happened. We started playing it because we liked the tune, and I guess like all the rest of these songs, they sort of become part of our little canon of music that we play together all the time, and then the arrangement ends up turning into something and evolving, and so it just felt like it fit our vibe, and the sound and goes well also with the other tunes on the record. So it just kind of works.
Very cool. And it will also feature some original compositions by you, Andrew, or by a little bit of everyone?
Mostly Paul's tunes and mine. Both of us, we have some writing, and then some of the tunes on the track are actually just band improvisations. So we were just playing with the three of us, and we captured that sound.
That's the thing. Great. I always feel like with my tunes, and I think this is true of your tunes too, hopefully, but pretty soon they don't feel like my tunes anymore. They don't feel like a tune that I wrote. It's just, I'll come with an idea. Some of the tunes will be more or less developed when I bring them to the band, and then we start playing on them. And then sometimes they end up evolving to something that's very different than the original conception. I feel like Don usually does that. Don, he takes it somewhere else. And then I'm like, okay, that's cool. And so, at least for me, I come with an idea and then try to kind of hold it open-handedly in such a way that just allows for it to be part of what our band sound is. So they might have my name next to them, but I feel like they're Thrio tunes, rather than my tunes.
I mean, it's something to celebrate, of course, with having this album, but it also is celebrating the fact that you've remained together throughout this, because it's no small thing to be working over the course of years towards something else, continuing to play around town. So how would you say you've grown as a band since Volume 1 first came out?
That's a great question. I love that. I mean, I think what you just said is grown. We've just grown as people. We've all just lived more life together as bandmates and as friends. And that is kind of like you said, it's no small feat to have a friend, I think. And so to have friends to play music with is a blessing. And really, it's become just at least for me, it's become a really safe space to exist in.
Yeah.
Is like,
it's a dream, really, man. I mean, it is. I've wanted to have a band like this my whole life, and never have. I've had ongoing musical relationships that have developed over the years, but never a consistent group like this where we're developing a sound together, and the sound is continually evolving, and we can be. We can both celebrate it and then be critical of it at the same time, and let it grow and let it change and evolve. And then also, I don't know, man. It seems like the stars have to align. Man. It's an act of God to have a band like this that you also really enjoy hanging out with the members of the band. It's really crazy. I mean, if you think about it, or at least in the bands that I love, in the history of this music, they built something over the course of years. Like think about Miles's bands or Ahmad Jamal or Train's bands. They're developing a sound together that made it. You can tell that they have a rapport and a relationship and trust. Yeah. That's a big thing because sometimes we're all dads and have jobs and we're really busy and we're not always we don't have time to be on our instruments like we would want to sometimes. And so if you will show up to the gig and it takes a lot of trust, I'm like, these guys have my back, and then it's really nice because you always feel like I don't ever have to think about what I'm going to play. I just listen to what they're doing and then something happens and it's really nice.
Totally. I mean, that's the biggest thing I would say, the trust. It kind of feels like when we get to play together, it's, I don't know, what's that game where people catch each other when they're falling? Trust falls. It's just a series of trust falls. Right, yeah. And we happen to all be on our instruments. We're just kind of, playing catch with the tunes and seeing what happens.
Yeah. Usually nobody falls. Usually occasionally that happens, but that's one of the beautiful things about this kind of music is that you can take chances and do things that if you did in any other area of life you would either hurt yourself or go to jail. You know what I'm saying? Like you can do things. It's not the stakes are really pretty low. So it's nice. I mean you can care about it and then really love the music and be dedicated to it and at the same time be like, well, whatever happens.
It's not if you fall, it's who picks you up.
That's nice.
And you all play at Bond Brothers on the Thursday jam, and has that been a good place to feel out what you want on the album and even start practicing as you're also performing? Definitely.
We think of that as our time together to work on our ideas. I mean, obviously, we're also hosting, a community jam session, which is fun and great. We have all sorts of musicians come out, all ages, from middle school and high school, college-age kids, professionals. The tap dancing community will come out, vocalists will come out, different, just people in the musical community. Because I think all three of us grew up on our instruments, going to jam sessions. That's how you learn how to play. It's by showing up and hanging out with other people who are better than you, hopefully, and you glean from them and learn from them. And so we've just tried to kind of create a community space like that. And but we also, treasure that space because it's a space where we can experiment and be a little bit, uninhibited in how we try musical things.
And the format really helps too, because when we get there, the first 45 minutes or an hour, it's just us up there, and so we get to hog the stage and work on our material and let it develop and sort of marinate, so that when it comes time to record, it's not just us trying to hash out some ideas. There's been a lot of mileage on those tunes, and so that's really helpful, and it's cool, you get to share it there and let it evolve in front of some people, because it's you can rehearse all day, but it's never like when there's people in the audience, you know what I mean? That's where it really happens. Something about that's what makes it magical.
One of my friends, Shuyi, is a tap dancer, and she spoke so highly of how you both have managed that jam and how you've been so inclusive towards tap dancers and other musicians. So they've really loved to try out some things there too.
Cool.
Yeah, the tap dancing community is so dialed in. They really have an appreciation for the music sometimes that challenges that of musicians. They listen to the music, they know the arrangements, they know melodies. It's, and some of the tap dancing community that we've met, at least and connected with, they just have a strong connection to the whole legacy of the music. So it's easy to include them.
Yeah, it's cool. And it also gets you thinking about the music differently when you're interacting with them. For some reason, I don't know, I've done a few tap dancing events like outside of the session. And yeah, I don't know, man. It just gets me thinking differently and playing different rhythms and interacting in a sort of different way than we normally do.
Yeah.
So that's cool.
Yeah. Jams are so important.
Yeah.
So if you were to, let's say, March 21st comes around and you suddenly lose all memory of the past 2.5 years and all you have are just your album,
Wow.
what would jump out at you as, wow, this is so different than the first volume we did, and what would you be able to deduce from those differences?
Wow, that's amazing. I love that. The sound feels freer to me on this one because I think we are just a little bit more open. We're open to taking risks and playing the trust fall game. So I think that comes through more on this record than it did on the first one. We had some pretty specific ideas going into the studio, but some of it was, like we're going to play these tunes and we just know it's going to be okay because we've played them a lot and we know we're going to catch something cool. Yeah. So
I'm also playing a different bass now. I'm playing about a year and a half ago. I got a different bass and it's been awesome. The way, it's really, I love the instrument I'm playing now. I think it has changed to some degree the way the band sounds.
Yeah, definitely.
And it also sounds sort of bigger and clearer and whatnot. So the way the bass sounds on the record, to me, that would be like if I listen to Volume 1 and then I listen to Volume 2, then like, yeah, I would definitely notice that.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what kind of bass do you use now?
It's a Jusek. Actually, that's one of the things that was kind of cool. So I've been playing a Jusek for forever, and then I found this other one. But my old bass there were some little, I don't know how to say it, like some inconsistencies. There were some areas of the bass that were a little, they didn't speak the way I wanted them to. So anyway, I got this bass. It's a Jusek Master Arts from 1935. It's great. It's a great instrument, and but the string length is the same, the dimensions are the same, so it felt like I didn't have to sort of relearn how to play the instrument, because basses from one bass to another, sometimes it can be, a real adjustment, and this really wasn't. I just felt like I somehow I got an upgrade of my bass got upgraded,
That's good.
but it felt natural, and so it was a cool transition.
Nice. And I wanted to mention Donovan Cheatham, who's not able to be here today, but has been the consistent drummer in this group. Is there anything you want to share about his playing in the album, or what listeners should be listening for as they are experiencing it?
Don's so awesome, man. He just sounds...
That's true.
He really is. He feels like a big hug to me, man. Like he does. And his playing is growing all the time. He sounds so much more like himself. I think he's sort of tapping into his I feel like he has this massive energy inside that sometimes he has held back or something. He's kind of, and he just feels like he's kind of letting it loose and really being himself. He's the one that. Well, it's a collective thing, man. But he really brings something to each of the arrangements, and really, really learns the tunes, like plays the tunes in such a way that it kind of feels like we're not just like kind of blowing over some vehicle or something. Like he was always accentuating the important parts of the arrangements and the tunes and the melodies, and so he brings that to every one of them, man. He just brings like this big spirit, that's really inclusive, and inclusive, I think is a great way of looking at it, but it's an inclusivity that also has like a real direction and power that's moving forward. It's not just like, oh, whatever you guys are doing. He's really like asserting his sort of musical vision, and you can hear it all over the record.
I like how you described him as becoming more of himself versus like when we think of someone changing as being different, but we're growing more into who we're meant to be. Perhaps.
Yeah, totally.
I think so. Yeah. Between the first record and the second record, Don's a dad now too,
Yeah. And a gardener.
Yeah. But he's always been doing that. I think like I think he's got like, some kind of superpower, green thumb or something. But something about being a dad, I think, like, just it opens your heart, you know, and it also means you don't have time to be practicing
the
same way. And so, like, you really invest in the time that you have behind the instrument in a different way. So I think that probably has also helped him be more of who he is, like that, you know.
Mm-hmm.
I was going to say too, that kind of ties into a question you asked earlier about how the record's different this time around than last time. And I think there's more space on the record. I think we all are negotiating the musical space differently, and it feels like all three of us, Donovan, Paul, and I, are always kind of listening more and more deeply to kind of everything that's going on. So the record feels a little bit more spacious and more open. It's just three voices all the time. It's never just one of us, you know, really. It's all three.
More freedom and more space. I like that. Is there anything you can share about the recording process? Was it a multi-day affair, and where'd you go?
We recorded for 2 separate days, about a full day and a half day at Overdub Lane in Durham, with Jason Richmon at the helm.
Nice. Mixing and mastering.
Yep. And recording engineer as well. And so Jason did an awesome job. We've worked with him before on Volume 1. And so it's actually kind of a similar process. It's kind of funny, you know, we have just a trust and rapport with him. So he has a really great idea of the sound that we're trying to achieve. And I mean, it came out great, you know.
Yeah, he's a wizard.
Yes, for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, and for us, you know, some people do a lot of takes on a tune. Some people just do one. We're usually somewhere between the middle on that. So usually we'll do, you know, 2 or 3 takes at most. But, you know, sometimes it gets better as the takes go. Sometimes it gets worse.
Sometimes not.
Yeah. But we try not to wear the tunes out. So we play it a few times and say, hey, okay, let's see what we got. And kind of move on.
And it's cool. I mean, you know, it continues to evolve because we've been playing the tunes since we've recorded them. And then, you know, part of the whole process of making a record is listening back to what you did a lot and trying to figure out which are the best takes and all that. And then once you've decided, things become a little more codified than they were prior to that. And then and then the arrangements kind of will start to grow in another way. You know, I don't know how to explain that, but I think about the way we've been playing them even since the recording, and they're changing, evolving even now, you know. So it's cool. I think if we did it again, it would sound different, you know, even with the same tunes. I mean, of course it would. How would you recreate all that? You couldn't.
No. I love that about jazz, though, where there is something that is impossible to exactly recreate. And often you're not trying to go for the short, snappy hook and then race through a 2-minute song, but you can kind of trust that whoever is coming along with you is there for the ride.
That's well put.
Can I talk about really quick? Can I talk about this the uptune Paul wrote that's on the record?
Yes, tell me about this tune.
Which one?
It's called Inner Space.
Oh yeah.
And it's completely out of time. It's just, you know, listening, and that was something that we aspired to on Volume 1 too. We kind of aspired towards a certain type of playing that our idols can do, that we've heard, you know, is like, how do they negotiate time and space? They're like wizards or warlocks or something, but you know, and so something about, you know, being just kind of open and listening a lot. And I don't know, that tune is really exciting.
Yeah, that's what that tune, and
definitely can't recreate that.
No, you can't. And Andrew plays this really awesome open intro that I really love. In fact, I had to advocate for it a little bit because he was like, "Oh, let me try this," and it was the first thing that he played. And then he's like, "I don't like that. You know, I'm gonna go." And he tried a bunch of different stuff. I was like, "No, man, that's the intro. That was it." But yeah, that tune, it was about space, really. I mean, and it came. It's kind of a funny story, I guess. But so I have for years had like a sort of contemplative meditation practice, and I was up really early, sitting on my front porch, and there were some owls that were calling. I think they're great horned owls, I'm pretty sure. And
cool.
They travel in pairs lots of times, and they were calling back from and forth to one another, and one of them was singing an E flat and the other one was singing an F. and I recorded them, and then and really the whole tune is built around just two notes, like just those notes. You know, I just kind of like harmonized the melody is really just those two notes pretty much. And so I was trying to harmonize that, and then I don't, not to get too deep into all that, but one of the things you find if you go very far inside is that there's a really kind of infinite space inside of your mind or your soul or whatever that thing is that I don't know how to give a name to. And so that was what it was. It was almost like a play on, we talk about outer space, but there's like this massive infinite space on the inside, and that's sort of the story behind that tune, I guess.
Yeah, I like that. And just this idea of like you are seeking out truth, you are giving yourself an intentional space to be thinking deeply, and all of that is so important. I've heard Donovan use a gong that sounded like a yoga practice at a show before, which was cool.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Can you share about the plan for its release and any shows that you might have coming up that will be showcasing these new tunes?
Well, you can definitely find us on Thursday nights. That's kind of become our haunt, and so we're always there making music and stirring something up. We'll see if we have a specific release show. We don't have anything kind of planned as a release show, but we have some shows coming up later this year at the Sharp 9 Gallery in Durham.
Yeah, maybe we'll have a release year.
Yeah, maybe a release year.
I like that energy.
Yeah, it's going to be an ongoing celebration.
Yes.
Yeah.
But yeah, we were talking about the day before the 21st. I think the 20th is
the 20th.
Thursday.
Yeah, Thursday.
20th is a Thursday, and so we may, instead of that being a session on that night, we sort of will just make it more like a concert, like a release event.
Yeah, and a little release party.
Yeah,
at Bond Brothers. Yeah.
So that would be cool if we can bring a bunch of people out and just celebrate in that way. And then we have a few dates this year. I think 3 at the Sharp 9, and maybe the first one's not until June or something.
I think about June. Yeah, we'll be there June, summer. Yeah.
You can always check out the calendar, thriomusic.com.
Dave will have it out too on emails.
Exactly.
Yes.
Yeah.
And is there anything special about March 21st as a date?
3, 2, 1, go. No, I'm just no, we've had this in the oven for a long time, in terms of mixing and mastering and just kind of choosing tracks and balancing our whole lives as people with families and jobs with self-producing a whole record. And so it's just, we're ready for it to be out because we love the music and we are excited to get it out. So, and we'll have one more single coming out, before the record comes out, and that'll come out February 27th. It'll be one of Paul's tunes called The Last Time.
Yeah. The Last Time.
Yeah.
Last Time. Yeah.
Has a little mystique going for it.
Yeah.
Last Time of what?
It's a little, maybe it's a little bit of play on words. I guess they all end up having a little bit of a story behind them, but this one, it's a little bit about eating your words, actually, because sometimes you might say like, this is the last time that's going to happen, but then you eat those words and then you're like, oh, remember the last time?
Right.
Remember the last time this happened?
Oh yeah.
Never say always or never.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's another parenting lesson. Real life. I got lots of inspiration from the house. Yeah, I wrote this blues. It's subtitled the vacuum cleaner blues. It's Watch Your
Vacuum
Toes.
cleaner.
Yeah.
Well, we have the tune. One of the tunes is "Watch Your Toes,"
It's Watch Your Toes.
which bleeds right into "Suckers Blues"
Yeah.
from the
Oh.
vacuum cleaner.
Yeah.
I can't wait for this album.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, congratulations on it being so close, and thank you so much for sharing about it. Anything else you'd want to share with the 6 Count listeners?
I'm just really glad for the opportunity to do the interview and
Absolutely.
and what you're doing
Thank
for
you.
the community. You know, there's so many great interviews that you've done.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, no, it's great. It's a real service to the community, and we all need support. We need it. So thank you for that.
Yeah, you as a performer
thank
and
you.
artist, you know that, and you see the value of that, and so to put that into action is really special, and really cool. And so definitely appreciate the chance to be here and hang out.
Oh, well,
Sorry, Dawn couldn't make
likewise,
it.
gratitude. Yes.
Yeah.
Well, can't wait to catch you next, and you'll just keep us updated as things progress. But congratulations again, and thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks, Sarah.
Thank you for listening to 6 Count. I'm Zara Wild. You can let us know what you thought of the episode or recommend a guest by emailing us at 6countpodcast@gmail.com or by finding us on Twitter or Instagram at 6countpodcast. If you'd like to support our work in telling the story of jazz in Durham, you can make a gift to the show by following the link in our episode description. Thanks for listening.